filters and the other is using the Google Nik Collection. So the cool thing about this, it can really enhance your photographs. So let's take this first one down here that we want, this one. And so let's start with the Photoshop filters, okay? So this is a really nice abstract, but it could make it a lot more interesting by adding different colors or something in it. So let's come in here and we go under Filter. So the very top, you want to go to Filter and you want to go to Filter Gallery. But before we do that, before we put a filter on Photoshop, what do you think we should do here? Let's duplicate the background because we want to be able to take that filter on and off. So we can either right click here and go to Duplicate Layer, and then I can call this Filters, or I can just do Control J and a new layer will pop up. Either way. So now I have that layer. So that's the same as my background. So I'm going to be doing all my filtering on that layer so I can click that on and off and see the difference. So I'm going to come up here to Filter and I'm going to go to Filter Gallery. It's the third one down. I'm going to go to Filter Gallery. And when I click on that, this is obviously way high. So I want to click on this little down menu and it'll say Fit on Screen. So look, that's pretty cool with this one. This is a filter. These are all filters. You see there's artistic, brushstrokes, distort, sketch, stylize, texture. These are all filters in Photoshop. And each arrow has a drop-down menu, and each one shows you what it does. It has the same picture of a boat in it, a sailboat in it, that is adjusted with each filter. So you kind of get a little bit of an idea of what that filter might do to that. So this looks really cool on this one, right? And that one is the, I think it's the stylized one. That's this one. So that's this filter. And so you can see that we have adjustments over here. Edge width, edge brightness, smoothness. So I can change this by moving some things around. And you can see there's a progress bar down here. And I can change the look of it. Okay? Or I can say, I like it wider. I want it a little bit more bright on the edges, so I'm going to do that. So you can just play with some of these filtering on the edges. Once you've done that, you can open it up in Photoshop by saying, okay, but we're going to try a couple other ones. So let's try an artistic, how about colored pencil? Let's see what happens with that one. And the way to look is, oh, that's really cool. I like how that comes out. So let's make this, now these are the different sliders in this one. Pencil width, stroke pressure, paper brightness. So these are different things I can change. So let's make the paper not bright at all, maybe make it darker, and it'll show some contrast. That's kind of cool. And then maybe I can take my pencil width down, or it always remembers your last setting on here. So whatever you did last, it'll show that. That looks really cool like that, so I like that. But other ones like Paint Dogs have almost no effect. It has very little effect on that picture. So this just looks like the original. So why bother filtering it if it's going to look exactly like the original? So what you want to do is come across ones that look different. Like Cutout's going to look very different. That looks cool. So let's see, you can do different number of levels, edge simplicity, edge fidelity. So how sharp the edge is. So maybe I want to make it less levels, or maybe I want to make it more, and I just play. The cool thing about using filters in Photoshop is that you just play to see what you like. So maybe the edge simplicity, I want to take it down a little, and that looks actually kind of cool, right? So let's say I decide I like this one. So then I just click OK, and it's going to open it in Photoshop with that filter on it. And that is on that layer, so I can click it on and off. So you can see what a difference we made in that. But now that we have that layer selected, we can also make adjustments to that layer by coming down here, and let's say we fix the brightness and contrast. So maybe I want to make it darker and more contrasty so those colors really stand out. That looks kind of cool. And then maybe I want to come and make the hue and saturation, so I want to change the colors. So I can change them to different colors by moving it along here. Ooh, that one looks kind of cool, like something like that maybe. And saturate it less or more. Oh, I like that. That's kind of fun. And so I can keep it like that. So I can add different things on top of that and play with it, like if I want to posterize it. So I can say, I can do this and say, yeah, I do or don't like it. That's kind of crazy. I don't like that. So I want to keep a little bit of the integrity of my original. So there is with the posterization. So let's take that off. I didn't do much with that. Hue and saturation really changed it, and the filter that we used on it really changed it. And there's the original. So there's the filter, the brightness and contrast of that filter, and the hue and saturation of that. So we can change it. And now when we go to save it, we're going to save it as, you can save it as the same name, but you can add filter on it or something. But because you don't want to save it as exactly the same name, because it'll overwrite your original TIFF. It'll overwrite it. But now when you go to put this in your PowerPoint, you want to have one small one of the picture without any filters on it, like this. And then you want the filtered one to show on it also. Okay? And so that's some really cool filters. And you can always go back. If you're back on this filter one, you can go back and say, I'm going to change my mind. And I'm going to come over here to the filter gallery and I'm going to decide I want to do, go to fit on screen, let's say I want to do colored pencil because I really thought that looked cool. Now it's going to filter it how you have it on this new filter. So you can filter on top of filters on top of filters. And that's kind of fun to play with. So let's say I want to make the paper really bright instead of dark. So I can do something like that. So I can do several filters if I want on the same thing. It's totally up to you. I'm going to cancel that. But if I want to go back to my original, then I would come back here and I would go in and filter it differently. Okay? And then it would go back to the original one if I took all these off. It would go back to the original. Oops. So if I took all those layers off, I would go back to the original and filter that one if I wanted to redo it. Okay, or you can add filters on top of filters. So that's one way you can do something kind of cool. I'm going to close out of that. So then this is another picture, and it's like, it's a really nice abstract, a little bit boring. So I'm going to go into Google Filters, Nik Filters this time. So I'm going to go under Filter. And I'm going to go down to where it says the Nik Collection. We only want to use two things in the Nik Collection. I either want to use the Color Effects Pro or the VESA 2. Those are the only two I want to use to change stuff. So if I go to Color Effects Pro, I'm going to get a whole menu. It's going to open it up in another window. And I'm going to get a whole menu of different things here. The problem is that it doesn't show what they do. It's pulling it up on the last thing I had. So this is kind of actually cool. This is solarization. So if I come down here, it's going to be this one. So I can make it less or more depending on what slider I use. There's a little drop down here, and I can change the colors of it however I want on here. Let's say I want it to be that bright, and I can come down and move it up or down, and I can change this just by moving the sliders. Again, it's a playing thing to see what you like. Once you like something, you can just open it, and then you'll have it in there. But the first thing I want to do before I do that is, what do I want to do to the background? I want to copy it so that I have the ability to take that filter on and off if I want to. Okay? I'm going to go back to Filter, go to the Nik Collection, and go to Color Effects Pro. It'll always pull up the last filter that you used. So that's the last one. But I can come over here and I can change a bunch of stuff. This one says Bleach Bypass. You may not know, I don't know what half of these are, but you just play with them. And you say, man, that doesn't look like much. There's a color stylizer with a drop-down menu. So obviously I can do different colors on here, and I can play with it. There's colorize, so I can come in and add color to this, different colors in here, and I can make it have that color or whatever I play with on that. There's cross-processing, which allows you to do old school kind of stuff, and so if you copy some of that, you can see that, and you can see that you can, again, do the strength up or down and play with that. There is the detail extractor is cool. All that does is adds detail to your picture, so it's really great for something with a lot of detail in it. There's some cool stuff like the old-timey faded stuff, the vintage film look, the can even look foggy. can look like warm foliage kind of thing. So you can click on that. You can make it more yellow, so everything is very yellow on that. You can come down here to Indian Summer. It's going to have a warm color cast on all of it. And you can, of course, make it more or less of that. Midnight, you're going to make it very dark. And different things. So polarization, of course, we just went with that. Pro contrast, Polaroid transfer is going to be an old school looking one, and you can take the saturation up or down, outer color, whatever you want, and play with that. So that's the using the Color Effects Pro. If you go in and you use Vivesa, so let's delete that and go to Vivesa Filter and go down to Nik Collection and go to Vivesa 2. These sliders allow you to add the structure in, so you can get more detail in that. And you can move the saturation up or down and the contrast and brightness and make it look really intense if you want. And then say, okay. Once that's done, you can still adjust it again in Photoshop. So I can come in here and come in and say, that's a little bit dark, so I'm going to brighten this up. So I'm going to take that, make that brighter, and maybe make the contrast up a little. So I've added it just to that picture there. So what we started with was that. Oops. Was that. And then when we went through and added our filtering, we made it look very different. Okay? So that's what I'm looking for you to do, is to enhance your abstract pictures as much as possible.